The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
Senator Harris?
She reminds me so much of, like, if Maria from Sesame Street went into politics and got angry about shit.
Who's that the Wisconsin girl that nobody likes? What's her freaking something, Chur? Yobichur? Yobichur?
Oh my god, this is gold.
Girl.
Keep going. Keep going.
Critical.
They care about the life of the unborn child, but once it's born, you know, it should pull up its little bootstraps and go get a second job and fucking take care of itself, you know?
And positively LGBT positive.
Look, whenever there's someone coming after my community, they are either wearing a MAGA hat, carrying a Bible, or more often both.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
Oh, they're shutting us down. They're deplatforming us. I do a pretty good Alex Jones voice. They're turning the frogs gay.
Okay, you're sleeping in the child's room tonight because there's no way you're sleeping next to me. That is disgusting. I'm going to have nightmares.
And now, from Haines City, Florida, your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to SarahTalk. This is episode 206.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
We've
shit.
done a lot of these. It is July 24th, 2020, but time doesn't matter, so who cares?
July? Wow.
And the way you said July made me think like, oh, wait, did I say it right?
July.
Because I have no idea.
How to say it anymore? Or
No, I have no idea
why
what
it's
day is
July?
what.
It's like almost not July anymore.
I know, it's crazy.
What the actual fuck, guys?
Hey everybody, welcome everyone's favorite witchy woman. Ygraine is back with us.
Yay.
Hi.
You need to
How are you guys?
get an applause track.
I
Or a
have.
cheering fan
that's-
or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been cool right there.
The sound of like rotting produce hitting something.
Oh, jeez.
God.
Listen, nobody's throwing any tomatoes on my watch unless they're into my mouth.
I almost dare not ask this question because I know the answer, but this is how I start every conversation
God.
and interview. How have you been in these unprecedented COVID times? How are you holding up?
I would suck completely out loud, and nobody's happy, and I've gone through probably one of the hardest years I've ever gone through in my entire life anyway.
Mhm.
So it's been a shit show. You?
No- Not that we're playing.
Ugh.
It's not oppression Olympics in this case. It's disaster Olympics. I don't know, but we're not competing. But ours is bad, but certainly not as bad as it could be. Yeah, you and your family have been through some shit.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah,
But again, it's hard when everybody's going through it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever level believes this is, as horrible as it gets. It's hard to say, people are different. They have different strengths. And
Mhm.
we got good news recently. So I'm actually feeling better.
yeah.
And unfortunately, now more even aware of what was happening outside my little happy box.
Mhm.
And it's just sad that I can't feel this in a way that's reflected in the world around me. It's now back to the regular dumpster fire
Yeah.
instead of the dumpster fire shit show extraordinaire. It's
Wow. Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah.
And you feel horrible when you feel like somehow you have endured more than anyone else, because that's bullshit. Pain's pain.
Mm.
It sucks.
Feel free to say no. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your family has been dealing with?
Yeah, my daughter who's 34 and has a just turned 8-year-old daughter of her own, and she's the last of my children. We actually all live together. We share a house. We thought she had because she was told she had an allergy. Now that was frankly, a fly-by-night kind of centric care, walk-in kind of place.
How long
And
ago was this? When did this start?
that was well over a year ago.
Okay.
We lost about 7 months of treatment
Wow.
because it took an emergency room physician to just, I don't know, either want to hit her insurance or whatever to get her a CAT scan. And that was from the first time she was complaining about pressure on her eye and feeling horrible. And and then one morning she woke up and we were and I looked at her and it was enormous swelling. And we got in the car and I drove her to the emergency room and they did a CAT scan. And that's when they first found the first tumor. And that would have been I had just gotten back from Europe. So September, early October of last year. And then they went and did a biopsy and removed that. And they called us in within 2 days. We had an appointment for the next week. And the minute they call you before your appointment, you are up shit's creek. It's a dead giveaway. Doctors don't call you and say, hey, come on in, with good news. They just don't.
Yeah.
And we found out that day, and she was in chemo within a month after that. But then, come around February, when the pandemic hit, suddenly all bets were off. I mean, it got very crazy and scary. However, 2 weeks after they told us, look, be prepared. You're probably going to have to go through radiation as well as chemo, blah, 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 all that. She had another PET scan, and they couldn't find the tumors anymore, not a one. They won't let us say she's cancer-free for a year. She still has to go and get her ports cleaned. She has to have testing regularly for a year. But that was on the heels of, buckle down, it's going to get worse. And now we just have, about $1.5 million in medical bills. And all is right with the world. And I don't give a shit. It's pretty much my position, Y'all need me to rob a bank to keep her ass alive. I find somebody. It's the way it went down. But we are, again, you get that, and it's the relief is phenomenal. And it doesn't matter that your kid's a grown up, and it doesn't matter that, whatever. It's your kid. And it has made me incredibly more empathetic. I can't even begin to tell you, and made me even more angry at people who, will say something, it's always okay, or, it's somebody else's problem until it's yours.
Yeah.
And it's made me really identify with that and really angry at politicians who are, very blasé about the lives of others. It's like, oh, you so need to be hit with the reality stick.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes.
I think it's got to be I'm trying to imagine myself in that, in your position, and which is the first thing that half of our elected officials fail to do. But I'm thinking okay, we've got some preliminary good news, and I want to be happy and excited about that. But then there's still that but there's a whole year we have, it's not free and clear yet.
Right.
That's still kind of hanging in the balance. That's
She's
gotta
still
be
no immune system, and that's going to be for months. She's still,
and this going on.
no immune system in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Right. In the middle of a global pandemic.
It's like a huge gray cloud, and you're like, is it going to storm, or is it just going to float away? You just don't know.
Again, in terms of both empathy and anger, I found myself borderline Karening on the mask issue, pro-mask.
Oh, girl,
And
I'm there with you.
But, I just kept thinking, if I bring something home from a trip to go get milk and kill my own daughter, I'll eat it. I know I'll eat a bullet. It's just that simple. How could you live with that kind of guilt?
Yeah.
And people are like, well, as long as you're disappointed. And I'm thinking, if this was your kid, If this
Yeah.
was your kid, you would want to build a like lead bubble. If it was your kid, you'd have a very different view.
I think there's the one of the things that really shines through all of this for me is just how fucking selfish everyone is.
Mhm.
Like just the anti-maskers, that and I have to deal with on a daily basis, and the government that's like, oh, we got to get everybody back to work, and that means we got to get your kids back to school, and because we've got money to be made, and like we have to protect the interests of the rich oil barons and whatever, like just all of that stuff.
How much is going to the military in the COVID Protection
Right.
Act?
Ugh.
Are they going to fight the germs on our shores? Is there some new? Is there? I don't understand the correlation, but I'm pretty sure it could set us up for 2 or 3 months indoors and finally kick this thing's ass.
Yeah.
I think that's
Sure.
done.
Well,
So I'm really confused about priorities.
what is that meme that's been going around that's like it shows like all of the other countries, and it's like America's like, boy, I wish we could figure out how to kick this COVID thing, and then all the other countries are like, yeah, we did that, everybody stays home for 2 months, and America's like, well, we'll just never know.
But from the beginning, the administration in the White House, let's say it that way, was saying, "Oh, China handled this so poorly." Well, they handled it fucking better than we did.
Now, listen,
and we had a warning.
About China, and I don't even give a shit about the countries who kicked our ass. I give a shit about this country.
Yeah.
This is what the greatest country in the world can do. I am impressed.
Nope.
And I would like to find maybe the 4th or 5th greatest. I think it might be better.
Yeah.
I can't, if somebody had told me even 5 years ago, we could drop the ball on something like this quickly, I would have smacked him in the face for being an unpatriotic asshole. How dare you? Not my country.
That's the shame of it all that you're talking about, like with these authoritarian countries. Like, of course they got through it because their government said, listen, all you fuckers stay in your homes or we're going to arrest you. The end, right? Like and that's how authoritarianism works. But you would expect that, like, the big bad America, the best nation on the planet, like, that we would be able to go, we can do it without that. But no, we went, fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask. You soy boy.
If they could have fought this thing with tanks and
Oh,
guns, they would
sure.
have beaten it better than anybody else.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's the only perspective they can, like, oh, well, you were going to shut the borders down and you can't come into our country. Well, that didn't help.
It might have been done sooner and they had testing at the fucking entryways. But again, we have, in the last 3.5 years, determined that science, expertise, facts, knowledge of any sort is to be just dismissed based on, feelings and who your guy is. I mean, we're all living in an enormous frat house that's like one step up from Animal House because it's not that much fun.
Yeah.
But like the rapey house, there's one on every fucking campus.
At
We're
least.
living in the rapey house. Where it's about what you want, not what matters.
Yeah. How do you feel about back to school? We talked about a little bit about that off air. You've got a little one in the house.
Even talking, I can't believe anyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
It's the most insane thing I've. And now and I got to admit, a really, really, really good play was like kind of intervening in the CDC, because now we can't trust them either. And now we're, the same people were saying the CDC, science, ha, ha, ha. They've so manipulated the CDC that now you can be looked at and said, I thought you said you could listen to the CDC. But it's been utterly corrupted. For the CDC to make even a viewpoint that they should open with, I believe it's 5% or less testing rate, when almost nowhere is it 5% less testing rate, strikes me as contradictory. And like, who do they work for now? And where are they getting their information if the hospitals are reporting to? And I they undermined science even further with their own tool, and they've used it against us. And we are now hearing about dead children daily. Yeah, again, it's great that it's 0.00 whatever percent, unless you're that parent.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what will. I mean, I saw again a meme today that said to the effect of, we're sending them in as little teeny guinea pigs, and maybe the reason that it hasn't been spreading among children is they weren't in school.
Like, that's
Yes.
exactly the reason.
They've been at home
They've
for
been
months.
the most protected because they're like, no parent has been. Well, that's not true. I see people, stupid fucking idiots, all the time in the grocery store
And the
with
theme
their
parks.
kids. And don't even get me started. I won't even talk about it. But yeah, like, you take your kids to the grocery store. None of them have masks, but you're wearing a mask.
Right.
You take your kids to the theme park, and then you expect everything to be okay because.
And I saw one the other day that
and I'm
somebody
just-
took
I
their
don't
kids
get
to the
it.
theme park and the kid got it.
Yeah, it's happening, and
Yep.
and it's gonna keep happening, and I just I can't understand it.
So those are at least voluntary actions.
Yes.
The schooling is not a voluntary
Yeah.
action. They are mandated to be educated one way or another, and they are using that against us to manipulate us into doing a specific thing.
Right.
And
They're giving the
you know,
illusion of choice
it's all
too.
the goals of freedom. Yes, I have. Yes, and I find I'm very happy, by the way, with the lovely lady who you had on recently, who's running for our school board, and I'm really looking forward to casting a ballot for her because
Same.
I don't know what the woman who's been there forever is doing. I think she has a little stampy thing though. She like hits mellows with her stampy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get it. And that's our district.
Yeah, that's us.
I'm like, nope, done. Goodbye.
It was good to have a science-minded
Oh yeah.
another. So Sarah Fortney is a
Uh-huh.
science teacher on the school board, and she has been making those sorts of decisions with that lens also. And so I'm thankful for that. But there are a couple still on the school board who time to go. The board is changing.
Yeah.
There's a new, and I call it the new generation. There's a feel. There's a vibe that's changing. They're getting more in touch with the public, with the parents, and I think only good is going to come from that.
I feel like when you have somebody on a school board, and we do in this county, who's been on the school board longer than it takes a child to go from kindergarten to high school, you have a
Start
problem. It
questioning.
gets stagnant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Unless
Well,
you're demonstrating
well,
that you're.
I didn't want to. If you have that kind of experience and you can't like triple your money in the private sector, what's wrong with you? I'd
Yeah.
like to know.
I just feel like when you
Capitalist
change
in me
things,
wants to know.
I just feel like change creates growth. And I feel like there should be term limits on a job like that. That's all.
Okay.
I've always hoped the term limits, that the voter was the term limit.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
it worked out that way.
No.
I used to be very against term limits for just that reason. Don't tell the voters that they can't vote for someone they like.
Yep.
And then Mitch McConnell changed my mind single-handedly because he's a big fat douche.
Mhm.
And
That's
no,
a nice term coming from you, but nicer than I would have expected.
Are you implying that I use bad language?
Oh, come on. I've seen your Facebook. I love your language.
Oh God.
Speaks to my soul.
Thank you. It's very flattering. That's pretty nice.
So we're still waiting for the data to come back, but they sent out a survey to parents, and then now the teacher one is up too, that essentially asks parents, we pushed school back 2 weeks. What's your choice Because they asked us this in like the end of it's
No.
the
Yeah.
beginning of
Round of
June or some
redundancy.
shit.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen in August. I don't
No.
know how to answer this question now.
But anyway, so there's three choices.
Finger cited a magnet. I'm sure it's yours as well.
Yeah, right,
In a,
right. So our three
it's
choices
your
are
space.
send our kids back to school brick and mortar, do this distance learning option that's tethered to their school, which we have to do, or we lose our kid's spot.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Yep.
Or the Polk Florida virtual
Right.
school, which is like a transfer to another school. And so, like, if we were in our zoned school, that might have been an option, and only because they have the processes. This is what they do every year, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The tether option at a zone school, I feel like is just gonna it's not gonna meet the bar. Like I don't think it's gonna be
It's a Band-Aid.
right. Well, and yes, and we have to do that, but
Right.
yeah. But I think if I were at a zone school, I think my opinion would be different.
Brick and mortar.
Well,
Why are we telling our teachers
and I haven't.
that
I
not
watched.
only will we never pay them a living wage? Not only do they have to buy their own supplies,
Right.
not only do they have to take a shitload of garbage from parents, and not only do they essentially have to raise generation after generation of children, but now they have to get sick for it. What the hell is wrong with that?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we choose, because we at least thank you so much for giving us that choice, as lame as it is.
Right.
But they don't.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
at all. It's
Well,
absolute bullshit. I'm so sorry for teachers. I'm so sorry, teachers.
They get to say
so
what they
sorry.
want, but that doesn't mean they're going to get what they want. And I was listening to Anita Carson's town hall for tonight, and she was talking about how here in Polk County, they're running on the assumption right now that class sizes will remain the same. So we are in a magnet choice school, and our class sizes are smaller. But that's still 18 kids in a room that's only built to house 10 maximum at CDC guidelines. And so they're not going to be able to meet those guidelines because they're still going to have a full class.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But they won't, because I think a lot of people
Well-
will have to take the same option. We have at least ones who can. But that's the whole point, is
Right,
to force
yes.
you out.
but the zoned schools have classes of 30, and the zoned schools are the ones where they're in those areas where you have two parents that are working full time at Walmart, and
If you have two parents.
if you have two parents, or
Yeah.
you have a single mom with 3 kids, and
Yeah,
she
yeah.
has to send her kids back to school, and they're going to the public zone school, and they're going to be in a room with probably 20 other kids that parents are in the same
It's
situation.
a fucking petri dish.
It is.
It's the canary in the coal mine.
It's ridiculous.
And will anyone take responsibility? Is there
No.
anyone?
Hmm.
I mean, can Trump just stand up, or DeSantis, and say, yes, every single one of these deaths will be my responsibility because this is my choice and I'm forcing it on you? No, they want you to sign a waiver,
Right.
Yeah.
sue them, which is pretty much a dead giveaway that they're up to no good. I hate any
Mhm.
non-disclosure agreement, and any it's saying, listen, I'm planning on breaking the law,
Yeah.
and you're planning on being okay
Yeah.
with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's shisty shit. It's not good.
Yep.
Yeah, so who knows what's gonna come of that? Like when once parents weigh in, and we find out that, like, imagine that, like, all the teachers say, "I'm not going back to brick and mortar school," and then you have, I don't know, call it 30% of parents say, "I have to send my kids back to school."
Right.
Okay, now how are we making decisions on which teachers got to go back? Sorry,
Right.
like.
Well,
I
and
don't
then
want to be involved in any of this. Let's just everybody stay
Right.
home.
the other risk that's now coming to light is there's lots of, it's a right to work state, Florida is. And so people are saying, well, if none of the teachers go back, they can't make them go back. But,
Oh,
yeah, they can actually, or they can fire them.
It's one little tweak on unemployment,
Right.
and it's all over but the shouting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Union can't do shit in this state, and no, it's look. I mean, just like addiction or religiosity or anything, the first step is admitting you have a problem. I mean, just and looking at it from the very, very, very lowest of the low rung. What is the conceivable worst thing that is happening or could go wrong? And building up from there. And I don't even understand what I'm seeing. I mean, it's been fun for the last 2.5, 3 years making fun of stupid people. A lot of fun. But now they're stupid as killing.
Yeah.
And it's not quite so much fun anymore. I don't feel so much like pointing and giggling as I do just like grabbing somebody and shaking them hard.
Although that
really
people,
hard.
woman, man, camera, TV thing was pretty funny.
Once you found out what it was. Trump's cognitive test for dementia or whatever.
Well, you have to do it. And they give you extra points.
He was so excited about those extra points. Oh my God, what an idiot. That did make me kind of
Is there no one? Is there not an adult anywhere in that room saying, let this motherfucker talk? Just stop. I mean, and all I keep doing is thinking, please stay in the basement, Mr. Biden. Please stay in the basement, Mr. Biden. Don't come out of the basement, Mr. Biden. If you just sit where you are, this shit's wrapped up. Please don't do anything to fuck it up. You know, I'm virtually in prayer. See, I've gotten religions. It's like, please.
Times really are bad.
She's got the spell book out. She's got the voodoo dolls out. She's got the prayer book out.
Like last month. That's like so last month.
Tried everything else.
I lost my shit entirely, like beyond any way of getting it back with the Afghanistan bounties.
God.
Was that I already thought I was well beyond broken, but I mean, Kids in Cages is still like the one that gets me. But now that I see what their general feeling is for all children, it doesn't feel quite so discriminatory. You know?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you made
this is
all
nothing.
children except fetuses. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now I understand you.
Once you're not a fetus, fuck you.
By the end of this thing, somebody at BuzzFeed is going to write an article that's like the top 100 things you forgot about during the Trump presidency. And it's going to be all this crazy shit that like we were all worked up about at the time and then quickly forgot because then the next batshit crazy thing happened. And then the next batshit crazy thing happened. And we're going to look back through that list and be like, holy shit, I forgot. Half of this stuff even happened. Because it's just been like a gish gallop of garbage.
Yeah, but imagine worse. 50 years from now, grandchildren are going to be reading the history books and asking, how did this happen? Our goddamn ancestors allowed this shit to go on unchecked? How did they do that? Take a perfectly good country and throw it right in a crapper. And leave it for me.
Yeah.
How nice.
Well, you set up a decent segue there. Let's talk about Biden and the presidential election. And how are you feeling about that?
I know what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I have the benefit of my father, who is obviously very politically active, has been a Biden fan since like God was a boy, you know? And so I've actually... It's amazing, and I mean it. God, little G. Anyway, but I've known of him forever, long before he was vice president, and I've seen what I am great with Biden is he changes. You give him a solid argument, and he will change his position based on the evidence in the argument. He doesn't tie himself down to a position when new facts come around. I also don't believe he's an uncaring human being. He's certainly not a sociopath or a psychotic, which is, and I'm at this point, I really see him, because even he admits it's highly unlikely he would be a two-term president.
Right.
I see him as the stabilization of the patient before the surgery.
Mm,
And I believe the surgery is coming, and I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
But you have to stabilize the patient before you perform the surgery.
I do like that.
And,
Yeah.
and I just feel like, well, it's not like we have a lot of choices neither. We were handed a bunch of them. Apparently we found them lacking, and I like the fact that he's trying to build a coalition with the Sanders people. And for the first time, I've never been a fan of Sanders, although I've liked his policies. I haven't liked him personally, but that wouldn't have stopped me from voting for him. But a total 180 since the Hillary thing.
Yeah.
He has embraced, he has done nothing to undermine. He's promoting good things and making an actual effect on the party in general. I think the party itself is seeing that it has to become more progressive.
Yes.
And I think Biden is just enough old school and certainly knows where the bodies are buried, which could be helpful right about now, and just enough willing to accept that he's a good stabilizing candidate.
Yep.
So I wasn't gonna endorse him or anything, but I don't really see what.
No, well, we have no other choice anyway.
I'm gonna vote for Trump.
Right.
Right.
No, I hate him. I can think of the only person I hated more than him. One of them's dead and the other one should be. You know what I mean? And that's like amazing. It's like a visceral, almost like a personal hatred. I hate this person. He is stupid and banal and venal and just horrible. I don't understand. And I grew up in New York. I watched him be these things my whole life. I guess if, you want somebody stupid and banal and venal, he's your guy. But he's a monster in my book. He is an absolute monster. And I think there are 150,000 dead Americans attest to that.
I think it's a sad reflection, though, of, I mean, it is in some ways a reflection of a big part of our country. Not a majority, even though, because our systems are fucked up to let 30% of the people rule the world. But what a sad, realization that was for those of us who thought we thought we were doing better than this, and no.
I anticipated a backlash because there's always a backlash in the pendulum, and it eventually centers out slightly more. I expected that, like a Reagan kind of backlash, maybe a bad day in Bushville backlash. I didn't know we were going full on Mussolini.
Right.
That was quite a shocker to me. And he's not conservative. If you remember just 4 years ago, conservative values, those are not the ones that he has touted. This is a cult.
Yep.
It's a first generation religion where the people have the opportunity to know its founder. It is by definition a cult. It really is.
Yeah. Well, and again, I have with the lack, I don't know, a general lack of excitement for me around the presidential election. This is, to your point, precision surgery right now. Go in and do what has to be done, and stabilize. I have to start focusing on down ballot races. I have to start, and that's the thing that I think is, by doing that, what I'm seeing is maybe the hope that comes out of this. What you talked about with the sort of effort to move the Democratic Party into a more progressive era. What we're seeing in local races, even here in blood red, Central Florida, on these local races, these people, they're younger, they're way to there, and they're getting traction and making splashes. And if there is a hope, it's that. And none of this stuff changes overnight unless it's bad, a bad, but
you need real bloodletting for overnight change.
Right. And
That's unfortunately the fact. And we're already getting that in the slow burn. I don't know. I mean, I see people crying, just like I'll be walking into the grocery store and I'll just see somebody crying in the car. Now, that used to be maybe once or twice a year. You figure someone just had a fight with their husband or got bad news on the phone. But now what I see is this almost painful, just people are overwrought and they'll sit there and they don't know what to do, and it's frightening and sad and fucking everybody's temper. I mean, they're up at like my level. All right, can't have that. It doesn't sustain. Trust me. You will again end up in the bathroom crying your eyes out in a bubble bath like 3 times a week. It's not good. It's not good. And I don't, for all my witchy things, I hate seeing people in pain. And it crushes me. It's just maybe an overabundance of empathy or just, maybe cowardice. I don't know, but it makes me want to run and hide when I see people in pain. It's sad. And I don't know many people. I know people who seem to be thriving on the drama of it. And I actually try to do that. It's infinitely more fun to just, duke it out than, crawl in a corner, but I've seen friendships destroyed, families destroyed. And these are just and they're not just political beliefs. It's a bullshit answer when they say, just because our politics are different.
No.
There are politics and there are very, very basic ethical sort of certainties.
Yeah.
Like equal rights for all people. That's not political.
It's a difference in morals.
Okay. Don't say, well, we have different views on LGBTQ rights. That's not really a political difference. That's a difference in perception of what is human. Yep. And I can't go to that place, and I won't. No, I can break up a relationship over that. Same with racism. Same with, there are things that have been politicized because they need them to be, to appeal to people who desperately need to think they're better than somebody. I mean, in the long run, isn't that what it's all about? I desperately need to feel there's somebody I can look down on. And, somebody's going to pander to that. And somebody has. And somebody's done quite well by it. I don't like it.
No.
It's making me angry.
Well, while we're making you angry, let's I thought it might be fun to just flip on the news here and just scroll through some headlines and see what's going on. I didn't prepare it. All right. So top of the list here.
Oh no.
Second stimulus check confirmed in GOP proposal, but not the $1,200 amount or $75,000 income cap, right? So it's been 4 months since y'all got your $1,200. Hope you made that last.
Right. Oh.
I invested it in marijuana and I'm doing fabulous. No,
that was really smart decision.
That's a great investment decision.
Wish we had thought of that.
I thought at the time, trust me. I really do. 1,200, what?
Meanwhile,
as independent contractors, we have gotten so fucked.
Oh, I'm sure.
We're supposed to get, we even independent and gig workers, we're going to get the federal. Well, in Florida, they tweaked it. So you have to go through Florida to get the federal, right? So if Florida fucks with you, which guess what they did? We haven't seen a dime of unemployment. Not a dime. I mean, we got our stimuluses like we were Americans and stuff, but, we've had to take massive loanage just to stay afloat. I mean, when they wanted evidence, my favorite is wanting evidence that you're out of work. And I actually sent a clipping. Governor closes down bars and restaurants. What the fuck more do you really need? No, really. And they
Yeah.
were like, we need
Yeah.
to see on letterhead. I was like, the governors? Because, I'm not against what he did. I'm just saying this seems to be common knowledge. We are in the same state, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the question now is, they're going to get together and, decide what does this next relief package look like. Meanwhile, like Canada has been giving all of their citizens $2,000 a month since like the beginning of this. And they have healthcare.
Socialists.
Yeah, right.
Damn socialists.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and none of their people that are going to the emergency room with COVID are getting like $1 million COVID ICU bills because they
Mhm.
have better health care there. Just,
Yeah.
oh, I wish we could
No,
be.
actually, I have a friend in Canada. Hi, Greg Warren, who who sends me like bi-weekly. You seem so miserable.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Come up here. you'll like so much.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. Except now I couldn't cross the border. I'm from, Typhoid Maryland. Nobody will let me in.
I listened to a really good NPR show the other day about Typhoid Mary. If you want to learn more about that, it was really interesting.
She actually really got a kind of bad rap. I saw
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
heard like bits of it. Yeah, but it's a great phrase. And come on,
Mhm,
there had to be a Mary somewhere with typhoid.
I'm sure.
you know?
Let's see. What about this one? This was good. Trump has like done a complete about face on after the polls. Oh my God, that Chris Wallace interview.
Oh God, that interview. She made me watch
was
it. I was like,
so
I don't
good.
want to hear his voice. I can't do it.
I know. I have to read him.
Yeah,
If
I
listen to him,
yeah.
start like cursing and throwing shit.
Mhm. I said that to her. I said, I will read the transcript. I do not want to listen to his voice. And then she proceeded to sit there in the bed and play the whole damn thing.
Yep, my husband did the same thing. Bastards. Anyway, exact same thing. But on the other hand, there was some comedy gold in there.
Yeah.
There was.
Wow. And not as good as him trying to do better with, who was it, the next day? Or the day after?
Yeah.
Where the one that Sarah Cooper did, the whole man-woman
Yeah.
camera. Right. And not as good as that. But there were some really profoundly wonderful moments.
There were.
And yeah. But you know what? They will never accept. The only benefit of that was it was on Fox. And and maybe some of them watched it and listened. But there is a hardcore 32 to 38% of this country who he could shit on their lawn, molest their dog, steal their mail, and they would be like, more?
He said it himself. I could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot
Yeah.
a man and it wouldn't affect. He's right. He's absolutely right. And that is fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they'll, and here's the only plus was in every election, the big question, it's the economy, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that, or at least what looked like that. I don't actually believe they had that,
No.
but they certainly had all appearances of that. Yeah, they don't have that.
No.
And of course, it's Obama's fault because, he didn't cure the disease that didn't exist. And,
Right.
Yeah.
but they buy that too.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
Listen.
Don't know who they are.
I have someone that I interact with regularly who said to me one day, "Hey, did you see that stuff about Wayfair?" And I was like, "No, what do you mean what about Wayfair?" "Oh yeah, some dude on Reddit like figured out that all of the item names that are like, girls' names or whatever, like if you search them in this whatever and like Russian, you search the girl's name. Did I not tell you the story?
No.
You search the girl's name and like there's a Russian like child that's been sold into the sex slave trade.
Apparently sold in an armoire.
Right,
and then
right, in an
from-
armoire, right. And then the item numbers, like the product SKUs, if you search for that links to this other thing, and it's this whole big. Some dude on Reddit figured it out. And then said, like, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but holy shit, if it is, it's great. Why do you believe that? Why on earth would you entertain that for a moment? For what? Quit! I can't do this.
I'm assuming this is somebody that you have to interact
It
with, not somebody
sure
you choose
is.
to interact
It
with.
sure enough is.
Can we? Oh my God, people! Why are you so fucking stupid?
If you ever follow my beloved church on Twitter, we get that shit every day.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. Every single day. We got the Wayfair thing, just like we got the Pizzagate thing, just like we got Chelsea Clinton as a member thing. Like we get that crazy man, KW whatever, from lower in Florida, Port St. Lucie area, who's running for Congress, who's absolutely certifiably insane or an even better con man than Donald Trump ever was.
Wow.
Because he says the craziest shit you have ever. I mean, everybody, by the way, is a member of my church.
Oh
And let me
right. Yeah.
assure you, if you think all these people were a member of my church and my kid had a $1 million 5 fucking medical bill, no, they're not. Would that they were. Okay, we don't have, George Soros does not.
No.
Sadly.
No.
No, not Bill Gates. Sorry. No Chelsea Clinton. Sorry. You know, I mean, but it always comes back to whatever issue he's going after. I don't like him. They must be a Satanist.
Yeah.
Now we get that every day with and we get rebuked daily and, you know, repented and all that, you know, we'll find out when we die kind of shit. But when it's a genuine, like, nut ass conspiracy, it seems to linger.
Yeah.
I don't really understand and come back like months later. We all know you did such and such. It becomes like, it's like an urban legend, like the legend that Anton LaVey died because he died in a Catholic hospital. Because guess what? It was close. He, you know, professed a love for God.
Bullshit.
They tell us all the time. He had pulmonary edema. He didn't say shit to anybody, okay? All right? That didn't go down. It's a scientific impossibility. And I'm pretty sure the only thing he would have said to any nurse in a hospital was, like, you know, you want to show me a little leg or something, you know? It would not have been a plea to God.
Right.
But we get it constantly. Don't you know your own founder found God at the end? And
I don't know. I could go on a long tear about like how connected that is to the satanic panic, and you know, I mean, because there's some generational drift with all of that, like.
Well, you know, again, people are getting really pissed off that they have no one they can look down on.
Yeah.
They can't look down on Black people. They can't look down on Spanish people. If they get called out on it, they'll get canceled. They can't look down on gay people or transgender people because, you know, then they'll get it for that. If they look down on, you know, poor people, that's considered bad. But it's still absolutely fundamentally okay to look down on people who are non-Christian.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely. And the idea of letting go of that must be terrifying. You know, what you mean? We're all on an even playing field. There's nobody I can shit on. What good is that? So there's my spiel on.
And then next we go to Portland, where holy shit, you have federal agents rolling up in unmarked vans, just chucking people inside. Not a word of here's why you're being arrested, detained. Not a single care given to any of the rights that should be afforded to them. No, we're just gonna the Fed gonna roll up in their unmarked cars and just start taking people. Jesus fuck.
I have no problem if during what I saw was protesting, but let's say there was genuine rioting.
Sure.
That wasn't started by or escalated by law enforcement. I have no problem with federal officers protecting federal buildings, none whatsoever.
Yep.
Stand there with your gun and defend that. You have every right. I have no problem with, law enforcement protecting other assets that belong to the state or the city involved. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm anti-shit law enforcement,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm seeing an awful lot of.
It's not the law enforcement part of it that's the problem. It's the authoritarian, well, you have to do what I'm saying because I'm in charge. And no, that's not no.
No, a couple of months ago, wasn't it the states have to clean up their own shit?
Right.
Right.
Wasn't that? It was states' rights and states' responsibilities then. But now it's federal.
Oh, for sure.
When did that bill pass? When did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and I also don't approve that these people are apparently not trained for this job. And I don't approve. I would love to hear, God, I hope it happens, some people have been released to tell us what their experiences were.
Uh-huh.
Because I would like to have a more informed opinion than Donald Trump wants to make sure his warmongering fucking freakazoids show up at the polls. So he's going to swing a big, gun dick, which is pretty much what I figure is going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is my big gun dick. What do you think?
Yeah.
Ooh, yay.
Here's one that just dropped. 7 o'clock. I haven't read this one yet. U.S. federal agents and local law enforcement entered the Chinese consulate compound in Houston Friday, following Tuesday's order to close the diplomatic facility after U.S. officials alleged it was part of a larger Chinese espionage effort using diplomatic facilities around the U.S. A series of black SUVs, trucks, 2 white vans, and a locksmith's van entered the property as a crowd of observers and news cameras observed from the edge of the diplomatic compound. U.S. officials...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why are the Chinese supposedly spying on us? To find a way not to fix shit? Well, no, I mean,
No, yeah.
they're at least as well as we are, if not slightly better. They're... What is it of ours they want right now, other than us to get better so we can keep buying their shit?
Right.
Isn't that really? And wasn't that a conservative principle, free market trade, back in the day? I could be wrong. Capitalism, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It worked. I don't know.
Yeah. So that one's crazy. I don't know what all's going on with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's more fucking dick rattling. It's all fucking dick rattling. Like Saber's only limper. I don't know. It's not good.
The old white man gun dicks. Oh gosh.
God, we're going so far backwards. I just never thought we would go this backwards.
Right?
Backwards.
Yeah.
People curse. It's
the worst part about it is all the end times nutters. Oh, this is a sign of the times.
Oh, yeah.
Getting off on this shit. Oh, I can't do it.
The phone calls that you get.
Oh man, I love my mom dear. I do. But
that's a bless her heart if ever I heard one.
I do love her. I said, what did I say the other day? I said I love her from a distance.
Yeah, from 4 hours.
4 hours, preferably.
Away? Yeah.
It's rough on me because I usually call her once a week and, tell her what the kids are doing and just, hey, what's up? But I cannot get off of the phone without a lecture about how Armageddon is coming. And I'm just like, you're ridiculous. This is only happening here in America. And she's convinced that this is what's happening all over the world.
This is all happening here. I mean, we're seeing a lot of frankly, kind of deja vu-y, pre-World War II shit going on in Europe. We're certainly seeing dissent, and the pandemic is not helping. But at the same time, I'm having fun with that one.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It is, in fact, the end times. You might want to sell your goods.
She's, I just feel like I feel bad because I'm like, I'm just not in that place where my brain can think that way, but she's utterly terrified about people breaking into her house to steal her food. And I'm just like, what neighborhood do you live in? I mean, it's just,
you could divert the thing by inviting them in for dinner and just call it.
Well, that's
day.
what I said.
Like,
I said if somebody was breaking into my house to steal my food, they probably need the food. I'd probably just give it to them.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like they're going for the widescreen or anything,
right? It's just silly, weird concept of I'm gonna just take everything that's fed to me as gospel, and that's exactly what it is, and I don't need to try to analyze it because this is what I've been told. I don't know how
you lasted this long.
I don't know how I survived.
Yeah.
And still have a thinking ability intact.
I don't either.
Like, I really don't, because I lived in that bubble and I was like, okay. But I don't know. I mean, it's taken a long time to kind of get to where I'm at now, emotionally, mentally.
Mostly mentally, but I'm guessing that pretty early on, you must have smelled something was fishy.
Yeah, well, there were other people in my life that weren't in that toxic environment. I'll call it that, and they were like, "Hey, this is nutso," just kind of gently, So there was always that doubt in the back of my mind, but I don't know. I don't know how anybody can look at the world around them through a tiny little peephole and think that they're seeing everything. Like, I just can't wrap my head around how you can't be more curious about what's going on and just take this one person's side of the story.
It's got to be the fear that's laid in early of death and what happens afterwards. It's the only real, to a young mind, it's the only real hold you really have. Okay. Is the unknown. And, telling people you do this or you're going to burn is pretty freaking potent.
Right. It's a stressful conversation because I'm like, oh, for so long. I mean, I've been out of the house for what? A long time now. I don't even know how many years it's been. But since I left, we've kind of just had this silent agreement where we're not going to talk about this subject. It's off the table. And now she's scared. And she's scared, and she's scared for her grandchildren, and I'm just like, I can't. It's emotionally stressful, and I'm just like, I can't do it. And so now she brings it up, and I'm like, you know what? The kid gloves are off. I'm gonna tell you how I feel, because if you really want to talk about it, you're not gonna like what I have to say, but I'm not gonna protect your feelings because you're not thinking about my feelings when you bring it up. I
see her though. She is literally sitting there, profoundly believing that the people she loves are going to burn. That's got to be really compelling,
Well, okay, so
you would feel inclined to try to do something.
But Ygraine, listen, my mom is a Jehovah's Witness. They don't believe in hell. They believe when you die, you go to sleep. Nothing happens. So I don't understand. Like, the fear of, her fear is that she'll be in this paradise earth or whatever, and her family's not going to be with her because none of us believe that anymore.
And that's my question. If you believe that you're going to be in some perfect paradise, we'll call it heaven, call it whatever the planet, call it whatever, right? Like you're going to Kolob. like if you believe that this afterlife is going to be perfect, then you will either not know that I'm not there and am being tortured
Right.
or without you and without God or whatever,
Mhm.
or you will know that I'm not there and being tortured. And how could it possibly
Right.
be perfect if you're in a place knowing that I'm not and that I'm being,
Right.
how,
Well, and that's like
how could that be perfect?
it can't be. And all it does now, all it does in this world, if it's true,
Right.
is create more pain for the people that are trying to get into the new life or whatever you want to call it. When they have family that are like, you're a nutso. Like all it does is create more pain in this world, but the flip side of that is these people actually believe that that's their persecution and that if they can endure that, they're going to get rewarded that much more at the Golden Gate or whatever. Like,
That would piss me off to be the vehicle for someone's persecution complex.
right?
Right.
Yeah, that was downright angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just, we got into it. What did she say to me when she was, all upset and triggered? And she says, well, I think about when Armageddon comes, I'm going to just come get my grandchildren so that they can make it. And I'm like, fuck you, Will.
Like a slow-moving earthquake. Do you get like
Like,
an hour to pack?
I
What the
called her
fuck?
out immediately.
No, they're already packed.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Well,
the go bag is already.
She's got a go bag already. But I called her out immediately. I'm like, you're not taking my children anywhere. Fuck over my dead body.
Yep.
And she
No,
kind of,
People get dangerous, and
walk.
I've seen it.
Yeah. She walked it back because she realized that I was like, oh, no,
Well-
you won't. I won't ever let you see him again if that's the threat.
There
But-
was in the news right at that time that mother that took her 2 kids and she believed that she was like, talking to God and went and killed them and hid their
Right.
bodies and like all of that stuff was going on right about the same time. And so that like flashed in my mind when I
Right.
heard this story of like, oh, hell no.
I'm like,
Do you know how many times raising children and families, churches, showed up either at my kids' school or at my house with the fervent belief it didn't matter what they looked like, how clean they were, how they were dressed, how happy they were. They had a moral obligation to get their ticket to heaven off my kids' goddamn backs.
Mhm.
You can also imagine how well I responded to such. But, it is. I believe that telling kids that they could go to hell is child abuse. I don't believe it so much that I'll call,
Yeah,
calling
DCF or whatever.
reinforcements to inflict it on somebody.
Right.
Whatever the situation is, it can only be made worse by the authorities.
sure.
And I want, but people who would look at my kids and never seem to register, they were seeing happy, healthy, clean, well-fed children.
Yeah.
And if they see that, they would then at least have a reason to look twice, but actually that's what almost invited them in, right, into caring. But that couldn't possibly be real. And therefore, they were obligated to somehow take them away from me before I did something horrible to them.
Isn't it interesting how people feel the need to critique how you parent your child based on their own beliefs? I mean, and I've had people ask, well, how are you? Why are you not? Your kids don't believe in God. You're not taking them to church. You don't teach them about God. I'm like,
Oh, we teach them about God.
I mean, not probably the way you do, but I mean, but like it's this bad thing, and I'm just like, I just think, you know what? When my child starts asking those questions, or children, and I know they will, then we'll address that. But until they're old enough to understand and think about things and come to their own conclusions based on the information that they're given and the information that they find, I'm not going to push I'm not going to push that on them because that's something that is so serious. And I felt very scarred for a very long time about my perception of, what God was and what was expected of me. And, and I know that it's just something that I would never,
then
I
what
would
if
never
you're
blame
wrong?
I would
If
never
you're
blame
wrong
my
in
parents for
doing
that.
your kids
But
that,
it's one of those things. It's like, and maybe my kid will blame me one day that I didn't bring them to
Sure,
church.
your kid, yeah.
But you know what? I'm doing the best I can right now, just like I know my parents did the best they could with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
But when people look at other people and how they're raising their children, whether it be religion or what TV shows they're allowed to watch or what clothes they wear or whether or not they sit in the front seat of their car before they're 12 years old, all of that stuff, or what age they transfer their toddler from a car seat to a booster seat, like all of this parent judgment shit.
Yep.
I'm not much in the way of relativism, but that's because my demands are small. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are definite, yeses and nos. Obviously, you don't beat your children. Obviously, you don't,
Right.
But beyond that, it's none of my fucking business.
Right.
And one of the best things, in my estimation, about my church, we don't take children. You have to be a legal adult to
Yeah.
join.
Well, that was the thing that always confused me was in the Bible, Jesus was like 33 years old before he got baptized. So why are we baptizing babies and why are we letting kids get baptized? This is like standard from your
I
book.
don't know. I've never seen a baby happy about it.
No, absolutely not.
I've never once seen a baby go, "Oh yay, some stranger just doused me in water."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never seen them gulp. They always screech.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and even if like a Satanist chooses to do a baptism, the first thing part of the ritual is saying, "This isn't for them. This is for me."
Mm-hmm.
This is for me. This is under no obligation, and it's fun and there are lights and there's candy. You know what I mean? We don't. If it's a celebration, why does it not seem celebratory but mandatory?
Mm-hmm. And somber.
And frightening.
Yeah.
Somber, yeah. Well, because it's going to keep them out of hell. Again, that loving God is going to send that little whippersnapper straight into the jaws of Satan if he's in a car accident because he loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves you. Don't
Like,
fret.
yeah, I do. I understand wanting to do, like, it goes back to the conversation we had earlier about you and your kid. Like, when you have a kid, you do everything you can to protect your kid. So I understand the mental part of, I gotta save my kid's soul. I totally get that.
Yeah,
and I would never fault a parent for
champions
feeling
here.
that way. However, I
No, it's
still
the stupid
can't, like,
part.
Rachel or Keith, priests always drop them. Those videos are the worst, where you've got the priest and just like dunking the
cringing.
baby under the ugh.
Let me do that to that priest and see how he likes it.
Oh, that exists?
Oh.
Like they're
You won't be able to see it if I put it on
No, I
screen,
can't.
but I will
No way.
definitely find one.
No.
There's a whole world of these videos of
Oh,
Yeah.
Have you seen the communion ones where the priests are like slapping the kid after they give him the cracker?
no.
Oh, great.
I watch a lot of
You need to
Catholic
go down a
television.
rabbit hole of YouTube videos.
Right. It's like Catholic torture porn, I think is what it is. It's like
it's sad.
That's
It's
reprehensible.
yeah, it's
And that kid's got to look like, 15 years from now and be like, motherfucker.
you did
Yeah.
this to me? You let this
Do this.
Yeah.
mhm.
What's wrong with you?
I think it would be fun. Our son is finally kind of at that age now where he's got a handle on some critical thinking, and I mean he's always kind of been there.
Oh yeah, mentally he's
Yeah, but I think it would be. He's at the age now where I think it would be fun to get like a children's Bible for
I have one.
for YouTube. Like, let's do a YouTube show. I will read you a Bible story, and
he can ask questions.
let him talk through it. Wouldn't that be great?
I have a King James Precious Moments edition.
Did you
Children's
steal it from
Bible.
the dentist's office?
No, my grandmother gave it to me.
Steal it from the dentist's office.
You know what?
Yes.
No, my grandmother gave it to me, and it was.
She stole it from the dentist.
No, she did not. But it's like one of the. I think it's probably the only thing I still have, like that my grandmother gave me.
Yeah.
That like.
I got rid of.
I can remember.
I got rid of all of mine. I had the one that I got as a child from my church that had my name embossed on it. I had an NIV
I had one of those.
youth study Bible that I used when I was like I was leading a Bible study group.
I had a New World Translation that had my name embossed and my baptism date on it.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah. I don't know whatever.
Anyway, I'm talking about like a youth like
for written for
written
children.
for children.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to.
Yeah, that ought to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go to some thrift stores and I'm not paying for one that's already. But no, I'll buy one for a couple bucks that's already been paid for.
Yeah, don't give the.
Just grab one out of the dentist's office, the one with the
Oh
stories.
my gosh, our dentist office doesn't do that.
Just like the kids, they want you to. That's why there are 19 of them stacked on the table.
See, we take our kids to this pediatric dentist in Winter Haven, and they have like a waiting room for kids, and it's filled with tablets and devices. No paper in sight. Yeah. They pull the kids back, and they sit in a tablet room, and they pick their iPad that they want to play with until the dentist comes in. It's crazy.
Sedate them early, yep.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, times have changed.
That's good.
Is that Rachel's baptism date? October 1st, 1994?
Yeah, one of them.
Well, Keith wasn't baptized.
Well.
I think, what was mine? June 15th, 1996.
I don't think I was ever baptized.
96 or 97. I don't remember.
Because my church.
I wasn't baptized.
That's why I had to put it on the Bible so that I'd remember the date.
My church didn't do like the childhood confirmations or baptisms or anything like that. Like you had to be older.
I do not have a Bible story book. I want one of the original ones. I'm going to have to look on eBay probably and buy one. My mom gave one to my kids, one of the new ones that had been edited, and they took all the graphic pictures of people being murdered out of it. But I want one of the original ones in the yellow hardback because that book was psycho.
I bet you can find one on eBay or whatever.
I'm sure I've seen them.
Sure.
I mean, I have multiple friends that probably would just send me one.
Makes a lovely version.
Yeah, we had
absolutely shocked.
The JWs have this. It was a yellow book, and now it's not yellow anymore because they went to paperback. But it was a hardcover yellow book with red embossed letters, and it said "My Book of Bible Stories," and it was all these little Bible stories written for children, and it was illustrated. And there was like a picture of Solomon with the baby upside down, hanging by the ankle with a knife, about to cut the baby. And there was a picture of Cain. There was a picture of Cain and Abel, and Abel laying dead on the floor with blood dripping out of him. There was a picture of Abraham and about to kill Isaac when God told him to kill his son. Like all the, and this was
like
a
the Blumhouse.
This was a book for.
What is this?
This was a book for kids that weren't even teenagers. This is what you gave your 5-year-old to read during the meeting. I'm telling you, like, these pictures are burned into my brain. I'll never forget them.
Fear of God.
Crazy.
It's a
the
high
visual.
manipulative tool.
Yeah.
Really rather brilliant and incredibly cruel.
Yeah, right? I mean, I there's like pictures from that book that like every now and then I'll just
get a flash
and I'll go, whoa, man, oh
wow.
man. And then at the very end of the book was the chapter about how you get to live in paradise. It's this beautiful picture of the earth and all the animals and a little girl playing with a panda bear, and you know, I really do. If you want to get me a Christmas present, that'd be a fun.
What was it called again? I'll write that down.
My book of Bible stories. It's got to be the yellow one, though.
The girl and the panda bear and the killer.
Oh yeah, you as a kid, you that was your. Oh, so what kind of pet do you want to have in paradise? And you get answers from panda bears to giraffes to lions. Oh, I'm gonna ride around the world on a lion.
Wow. It's also supposed to be weird.
It's
okay.
It was perfectly normal to me as a child. I
Yeah, but
didn't
it's
see
not. That's
anything
research.
like wrong with it because that was my normal, right? But in hindsight, when I think, oh my, I would never. I mean, and my kid plays some pretty graphic video games, but I couldn't imagine handing him a book with those pictures in it.
And using them as a moral lesson.
But that
I
was
mean, isn't that
normal, and
the
it
real
makes me
disgust
like
part? This is the good shit.
it makes me mad for the parents that didn't realize how manipulative it was, and they
Yeah.
just like, oh, they probably didn't even realize how bad that book actually was. Probably still don't. I mean, it makes me mad for the people that were in the dark about like how dark it was. You know what I mean? Because like I
Yeah,
knew
but
so many parents that were great
it's
parents. They did, amazing, amazing people. But then there's this super dark like underlying thing
yeah, but it's not
that's
1965 as much as everyone's trying to make it that way. It's not.
yeah.
I mean, I was born in 63. I'm old as fuck. And yet, pretty early on, I mean, between movies and TV and literature and everything, you get an idea that you're not supposed to show children graphic violence
Right.
and shit like that.
Like we
I
weren't
mean,
even
and
allowed
in
to
fact,
watch
if you
anything
show
but
those same actions in a movie, some asshole would call DCFO. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's. I don't know how long people can use the intentional ignorance excuse,
mm-hmm.
which is covering so much of everything we're enduring, is really growing tired. You've got the internet, you've got libraries, you've got schools, you've got this, you've got the news. You're choosing to be stupid
Yes.
at a certain point because it's more comfortable.
We're in the age of information. You have everything you could ever want to know or need to know literally in your hand. You just have to swipe up.
Well, we were told the other day by a client we needed to stop listening to all the fake news sources, and she started with Fox. So I thought, oh, I'm going to hear OAN, and then I'm going to hear, you know what I mean? The crazy people. And then she went into CNN, ABC, NBC, what have you. And I was like,
no.
Okay, who would you suggest? And of course it was OAN, da-da-da-da-da. If you listen to, real news.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And sure, these wonderful conspiracy and bad theories are fun. They're more interesting than the truth, which is just that we're being run into the ground by, greedy, evil Fox. I mean, I know that doesn't have a lot of panache, but it's story as old as time, and very simple to identify. But to mask your stupidity by claiming you know something that's deeper than the rest of us know is obscene. I want to smack people for that. It's just like, fuck you, you idiot. You're messing up my world. This is my goddamn world too, and you're messing it up. Stop. Just stop it. It's not right.
Hey, speaking of greedy, evil people messing up our world, where are you on the how soon will Ghislaine Maxwell end up dead pool?
I think the only way she'll stay alive is if she starts fucking talking now.
Yeah.
They have no reason to kill her once the cat's out of the bag. And she's stupid. She has a very limited opportunity of time to realize that he can't pardon her till she's convicted. And he can't pardon her if he's not president.
Right.
But he can sure as fuck kill her anytime in the next 90 days or so. Or, you know what I mean? Or someone else could easily. So, yeah, I think the bitch better talk now or she's a goner.
I'm telling you.
I'd say sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I want all the names. I want all of them. I don't care who they're affiliated with. I don't care what party. I don't care. Like, just now, if you're her, you walk in the door like with your hands up, just naming people, right? Like, open up the door, put your hands in the air, and start saying names. Like,
I want that too. I was furious the other day reading about a judge who had allowed a multi-rapist teen rapist who married one of his victims, which is about as creepy as shit gets, and gave him, with over 64 counts of child pornography and abuse, less than a year. And then I looked her up, and she is a Democrat and a woman. And I don't give fuck one.
No.
You are a monster. You are a monster complicit. Or you are an accomplice. You revolt me. And no, I would rather, frankly, if there's somebody running who has something significantly bad or someone in the campaign, I would rather know now than like election night.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't put me in that bind.
Yep. Don't be a surprise.
Still trying to fix this, but not much, you know. But it's not like that pandering cunt, and that's what she is. That pandering cunt is not going to do anything for anyone but her. So I wouldn't expect it to be, you know, a call to decency or conscience. She's the worst kind of human being.
Yep.
The absolute worst. To use your gender and your money to procure and abuse children is pretty, you know, all you have to do is kill them afterwards and you've got the worst. So you're really right there.
You're close.
You know?
Yeah.
One more action. And
Yep. It's one of those things that like, it drives me nuts because there's such a misunderstanding, a misconception that comes out of the right on this, where like people on the right will say like, oh, what if, you know, what if Obama was, well, then I'd want to know. Oh, what if Bill Clinton? Okay, Bill Clinton was definitely on that list, but I want to know, like, like, I don't care who it is. If Joe Biden has some of them skeletons in the closet, I want to know. Like, this party bullshit doesn't matter to me like it does to you.
I guess,
Yeah.
It matters incredibly because, look, if you're capable of doing that kind of victimization, you're without conscience. If you're without conscience, you're not actually working for me. We were doing this, my husband and I were in the car, and we were doing the spiel about how the female-run countries have fared much better. And that's because, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of fucking feminists, which I am one, saying I shouldn't make this statement, but I believe it is the fact that inherently we are caring. We see somebody with a bloody knee, we pick them up, we clean it up. That's who we are. We take care of our children. Now, maybe we didn't always need a mother in the White House. Maybe we needed the provider and the protector, and that's okay. But right now, we need, and I don't mean it by gender, but the person who can at least look at Americans, say, these are my children.
Yep.
And I'm going to protect them, all of them, not just the ones who agree with me. And that includes even the ones I think are stupid as fuck. But you know what? They're mine. They're my responsibility. I'm sure many a parent has looked at their kid and said, I don't like you, but I got to take care of you. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's happened. In fact, I know it has. We need, again, that stabilizing force. I mean, I don't know where we're going to go after this, but until we've got that shit settled, and if Biden, I'm pretty sure, given the fact that they did find the one accuser for Biden, there is no way Trump didn't have people out there looking for every time he scratched his balls sideways. I mean, we would have known about it. He's not saving that up. He doesn't have that kind of patience. No, it's not who he is. I mean, it would be a smart move to do that week before Election Day. Bam!
He's not capable of holding it in.
No, the fact that he did his alleged turnaround, that'll last, what, till tomorrow? Maybe the day after?
Yeah, right.
Every time he does a good speech or something, or not good, but like, maybe everyone did it once. And, 2 days later, he's like, nah, they want me, because it's all about him. It has nothing to do with anything else. All about him. And his self-perception. I had no idea that this could happen. I thought, we all were shocked. Anybody, I think, was shocked that he was elected at all.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
was shocked he was elected at
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
I mean, but I think that we had no idea when people were screaming, "We want real in the White House, and we want one of us." I hope, if nothing else, people would realize, no, we don't want one of us.
No.
We want better than us. We want smarter than us. I mean, isn't we?
I
Otherwise,
definitely.
He's
Well,
not one of us,
argue.
though, and he's not one of them.
No,
He's
no, and you wouldn't
definitely
piss
not
on 'em if they were
real.
on fire. You wouldn't.
I definitely don't ever want to hear we should run our country like a business ever again.
No.
Ever again. You mean so that we can declare bankruptcy and start over? We
Yeah.
don't want that
Right.
option.
Yep.
Idiots.
Nope. It's not a business. And I mean, the amazing thing is the harder they press on leftist issues, I have found, despite my boomer status, go fuck yourself very much, I 1 fucking year, it doesn't seem right, but 1 year I'm technically a boomer, and I know I'm supposed to be like responsible for all this shit, but no, a lot of us, and even more so our parents, were hugely involved in civil rights and feminism and, equal opportunity. And we're trying to prove that you didn't need to be a socialist country to have those things.
Mm-hmm.
And the big kick in the face I've gotten is maybe I was wrong about that part.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe I was wrong. I had no problem with capitalism per se, and I certainly didn't realize until the last 2 years. Probably, maybe because I didn't want to, or maybe because I was battling the religious battle and wasn't looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. The more they go to the right and they call the left extreme,
Yes.
it's like reverse magnetism. Like,
Mhm.
as the right gets more right, the left gets more left.
Yep.
And farther from realizing it really doesn't matter because we're all going to sink or swim
The
here
seams
together.
are coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There really is something to the idea of like, look, you want the South, fucking have it.
Yeah.
You can fucking have it.
Right?
I'm gonna go
Just
north.
let me get out.
Yep,
Yeah,
let me
just
go
let me
north.
out.
You can have the shitty South. It's all yours. You can go back to like being shitbags and growing cotton and
Fly your flag.
call your football teams racist fucking names and have your stupid flag. You can just I don't want to be any part of it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over here where like common sense and decency and morality are gonna live, and you can
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
There's something
I
to
don't
that.
know why that's, I mean, I just keep waiting for, flags of other wars that, people whose asses we've kicked to go up.
Yep.
I always have. But I'm not against people having them on private property. I want to know who the assholes are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blazing sign. No,
Yeah.
not selling Avon there. And you know what I mean? Whatever. I like allowing people to, it's why I'm very anti-censorship, even
Mhm.
quote unquote hate speech. I want to hear the rattlesnakes rattles coming.
Yeah.
I want to know what I'm dealing with. And what we should also have learned from this is we forced a lot of this shit underground, but it was always there.
It didn't go
Yes.
anywhere, but it just
It's always
festering.
been there. They just learned to hide. And yes, now they're more emboldened and more dangerous, that's for sure. But do you really want them just to go back into hiding, waiting to jump back up again? Or do you want to know?
Yep. You're
wanna know.
right. If there is a good argument for letting people say shitty things,
Mhm.
it's that. Like the Klan didn't go away. They hung their robes in the closet and put on suits and went to work.
Yeah.
Like this shit never stopped. We had the illusion of it going away, but it never did.
Right.
And no, maybe nowhere else is that more evident than all the things that are happening right now in the war in this country. But during the election, and I'm feeling these vibes again. I talked to somebody that was talking about like, oh, I was driving around whatever in this red district, rural, red whatever, and there's no Trump signs, but there's lots of Biden signs. Yeah, they did that last time too. They're not gonna fucking wave their Trump flag.
Yeah.
They're gonna go vote for him. Like
Yeah.
there was this idea that we just didn't know that there was that many people
Right.
who were on that train because they weren't telling you this is who I'm supporting.
Yeah.
Yes, there are Trump signs. Yes, there are flags waving. Yes, that exists. But I think far more of them are still in hiding like they did last time. We're just not going to tell you.
It's big business.
Mm-hmm.
Big business could give two shits whether their money goes to racist causes, non-racist causes, whatever. They'll just do the donations that'll get them the best tax cuts, and they end up shoring up that regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, following the money is usually a pretty safe bet in determining who the major asshole is, and following the Confederate flag's a good one for who the minor asshole is. You know, it's, you know, you just have to kind of keep alert, and people will throw you a curve. You know, they really will. You'll think someone's one way, and you'll find out they're not.
Oh,
More
yeah.
importantly, nobody fits any little box, nor should they.
Yep.
And there shouldn't be, you know, purity tests that's so strictly guided that we all become automatons in any direction, you know, and that's a fear, and that's a legit fear. If you start with like maintaining, you know, the economy in a really horrible way, and then you're legislating religion and the recent, you know, Supreme Court rulings on religion is going a certain way.
Yep.
You know, you don't be surprised if other things start going away, and you have to be aware, and you won't be if you get caught up in the least little thing. Now, lately, I don't know what I would qualify as least little thing. You know, choking out black people, no. Killing people in their beds, no. You know, trans people being murdered, no. Losing our rights to, you know, go to any hospital or doctor and them determining whether we're the right. I mean, they're saying they won't, you know, help trans people. It's against their religion. Can you imagine if I walked in there with my freak flag flying?
Right.
Do you think they're going to save the witch when the goddamn book says outright? Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, this is not good. This is not good. And it seems, you know, very, again, it's, we all want this Mayberry that never was.
Yes. Yep.
This Disney-esque version, which only exists in Disney, you know, and
even there, that's a facade.
Yeah,
A cheap- a cheaply erected facade.
with fiberglass and cardboard.
Environment, you have fun there.
Yeah.
If people could have that kind of fun every day, they wouldn't be pissed off. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Hey,
you know, I like the fact that it exists.
if anybody's interested in these recent Supreme Court rulings, on the other show that I'm hosting now, Free Thought in Florida, I talked to Monica Miller, who's the legal director and senior counsel with American Humanist Association. And we talked about Espinoza and Little Sisters of the Poor. And that case, that second case, that to me is just batshit crazy. Like, okay, the Affordable Care Act requires that we cover contraception. But because we treat religion with kid gloves in this country, if you have a religious objection, a moral objection as an employer, you can submit this form to opt out, and you won't be liable to pay for any of the coverage. It's nothing to do with you. It exempts you. All you have to do is sign the paper and send the form in. And these nuns said, well, even filling out the form is our complicity. I don't know what the fucking word is. We are participating. Yeah, we are participating somehow in providing contraceptive coverage by filling out the form to exempt ourselves from having to provide contraceptive coverage.
What?
Batshit crazy.
Like
You're acknowledging the contraception. It's an acknowledgement that they have the right to go against God. That's what that was their argument.
Yeah.
That by signing that, it was an almost a violation in them being submissive to God, because it was giving them the right, not God, the right to make this determination.
Right. Yep.
You
So-
know, that's what that was.
So anyway, you can find that on YouTube if you want to watch that. It was a really good conversation with Monica.
That's if you look, if people get nothing else out of this, you know, if you're going to pick and choose who you want a doctor, don't be a doctor.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, if you want to pick and choose who you can sell drugs to, don't be a pharmacist. These are life-saving occupations. They care more about, you know, you worry about your little ticket to heaven. Fuck right off. It's kind of where, you know, I wait for the day someone tries something like that. I actually had a doctor years ago who took a look at my tattoos. And, you know, at the time, tattoos were not quite as frequent
Sure.
as they are now. I mean, there were plenty. I wasn't like, you know, a revolutionary, but it wasn't quite the norm. And this doctor, you have a dragon on your back. You know dragons are not real.
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
think I want to treat you because I think you need a psychiatrist if you think dragons are real. And I was like, I think you need a psychiatrist if you think I think a dragon is real because it's on my back. What's wrong with you? You went to medical school, you know? I mean, but can you imagine having life-altering conversations with people who apparently it's nowhere near as hard to get through law school, Harvard, or medical school than I thought. Because recently seeing some of the people who have done this, singular
Yep.
impressed. You know, Kaylee McEnany, really? Who did she fucking blow? I really no fucking way. No fucking way. She can't. Yeah. It's not right. And why didn't I think of that? It's kind of my next thought. It's like, who's this close?
Man.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to go to bed, I think. So, final word. What's the last from you, Ygraine?
Stop looking for people to feel better than. That's the thing I'm learning is the desperation of people to feel like they're better than somebody based on somebody else being shitty and not them being better. And I'm finding it challenging even for myself to rewire my thinking so I don't allow that. Of course, unfortunately, the stupid people keep making it easier for me to feel better than them. But it's tempered. So yeah, just the notion that so much of this is rooted in shit self-esteem and needing to be better instead of just, you know, being okay with yourself. Same reason people need God, same reason people need, you know, if you hate yourself that much, maybe you can change you and you don't have to ask everybody else to change the world for you. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for reaching out. Let's do it more often. I know we go back and forth about like, oh, you need to do a show, and we're half the time we're like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna do a show this week. And
full disclosure, we probably wouldn't have done a show if you hadn't said,
true.
"Hey, let's do a show."
I was literally like, I haven't done that in a while, and I know we were gonna. Let me see if they're doing.
We'll do it anytime for you.
Yes, yeah, for you anytime. But well, and I appreciate. I think we all just needed the moment to just like live and just sit in it. Yeah,
sit in it, spew it,
yeah.
talk it out.
I'm wishing you guys well, and let's keep in touch about the school.
Yes,
we have children all at the same place. That's a special place, and we feel strongly about it. And we're rooting for all the teachers there, and hoping everything works out.
Yes.
All right. Love you guys.
Love and hugs to your family.
Yes.
Be well. We'll be in touch.
Good night.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Night.
All right. I love Ygraine.
Me too. She's my favorite.
Do you have a final thought?
Wear your fucking masks.
No, you're right. I love it.
That's it.
That's
all I want from people. Last we talked, I knew 7 families. It's up to 8.
Yep. My final thought for the night is this: person, woman, man, camera, TV,
Goodbye.
We'll see you next time. This is SarahTalk.
SarahTalk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. The opinions and information provided on this show are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of the hosts and their guests. We make no representations as to accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or validity of any information and will not be liable for any errors or damages. SarahTalk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.